We're here this week in Utti in Finland visiting the Finnish Army's helicopter battalion. It's the only helicopter unit in the Finnish Army, and they have a very interesting job to do supporting Finnish defence. They operate a total of 27 aircraft. They have 20 of these NH90 behind me. You can hear one being moved out of the hangar at the moment. And they also have 7 MD500s. The NH90 is particularly suited to the way that the Finnish military operates its helicopters. It's equipped with a number of different features, and I'll take you through some of those particularly interesting ones in just a minute. And the way that they operate the aircraft is also interesting as well, and we'll bring you some more detail on that. So let's have a look around the aircraft, and I'll take you through some of the features that are particular to the Finnish model. We'll start at the front. So up front we have a sensor suite that will be fairly familiar to anybody who's seen an NH90 TTH before. There's a weather radar. It's principally used as a weather radar, but it can also be used to clear the area in front of the aircraft if they're descending over the sea, supporting search and rescue sorties, things like that. And then above that is mounted a thermal camera. This provides an image to one of the multifunction displays in the cockpit, but it can also provide an image to the Thales Top Owl helicopter mounted sight display that the pilots can optionally wear for operations, either at day or at night, but obviously the thermal camera is probably most useful at night. And that camera can be slaved to either one of the helicopter's the helmet mounted sighting displays, so that it will point in whatever direction the selected pilot is looking. Next to that, this square box here is an obstacle alerting system. Uses LiDAR to scan the area in front of the aircraft. LiDAR images then processed using the computers on board, and that then generates a symbology on the screen in front of the pilot that will overlay a computer-generated symbol over any obstacles that it finds, and that might be pylons, that might be antennae, power lines, even isolated trees can be picked up and displayed to the pilot, and that conformal symbology also can be projected onto the Top Owl system so that you can see within a cone in front of the aircraft, you can see those obstacles even in poor weather. I'm here with Lieutenant Colonel Jonas Polso, who's the commanding officer of the helicopter battalion here in Utti. And he's going to take me around the aircraft. We're going to talk about some of the features that are specifically important to the Finnish Defence Forces on the NH90. Jonas, thanks very much for taking me around.
Thank you for coming here.
I wonder if we could start at the ramp and talk about the specifics, as there's some interesting stuff about the ramp that is different on your aircraft to the way that other countries operate. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it is. Actually, the ramp is really important for us, for soft transport specifically, because having a ramp is essential so we can load the vehicles, snowmobiles, whatever, inside the helo. But we also can fly without the ramp, which is important during the overwater helocast missions, which we do with our Navy SOF. So this ramp with this helo is actually working for us really good.
Okay, brilliant. And so the helocasting, for those that aren't familiar with the term, what does that involve exactly?
Yeah, that's actually dropping people and their boats, usually Navy SOF, over the water as that's part of their infiltration method to get to their own targets. Okay. So that's basically dropping taxis over the water from really low heights.
Okay, and you'll remove the ramp completely for that?
Yeah, it's possible. Usually we do it without the ramp from the backside, but it's also capable of doing it from the side doors. But if you want to do it from the back, it's easier without the ramp.
Sure, and that's carried out here. You don't need any external support for that. Your own maintenance crews can just take that ramp off.
Yeah.
How long does that take?
It will take, I would say, it depends on a day and a little bit of the variant of the helo itself.
Yeah.
It usually talk about hours.
Okay.
So.
Oh, interesting. And it's not something that I've seen on other NH90s when we visited other operators. Is that something that is unique to Finland?
Yeah, that's our unique feature, because we were planning to have it, but we couldn't get actually the instructions from the industry, so we actually decided to do it by ourselves, because we have that military type certificate authority and we have some robust people here planning that kind of modification, so that's something we actually did it by ourselves.
We've also had the opportunity to fly with the helicopter battalion on a few different sorties. We've had the opportunity to see operations at low level, so 200 feet AGL, 100 feet above ground level, and also nap of the earth, so ultra low level, using terrain and trees, woods to conceal the aircraft from visual or radar detection. This is a core part of how the Finns operate their NH90. We've also seen hoisting missions, the opportunity to get hoisted from an NH90. We can attest that the downwash off the aircraft doesn't disappoint in its intensity, but the speed of the hoist was also pretty impressive to experience. The majority of their tactics, the majority of their approach to the role that they have to fulfill relies on their ability to operate at very low level. And this is typically below 100 feet above ground level, using concealment of terrain and even trees to mask their approach to and from their objective areas. The flight control systems, the display systems in the aircraft, the crews have said that those systems are extremely useful in supporting them at operating at these low altitudes. Right, I've got some questions about this, because this is something that I've seen a lot on NH90s.
Yep.
I understand broadly what the store system is for, but can you tell me specifically why having this capability is important for you in Finland?
Yeah. For us, this NATO standard heavy store carrier allows us to bring some extra fuel if we need some extra range on the missions. We have this kind of external fuel tank, which takes 500 kilograms per each, and you can clip this on either sides or just one side of the kilo. And it actually brings up to 2 hours of playtime more, and during some long-range missions, it's really important to have that capability. But you could potentially also add some EOS sensor or weaponry for this kind of carrier in the future, but that's something we don't yet have.
Okay, and the importance of that fuel in terms of getting up into the high north, is that what allows you the transit to get up into the north of the country in one hop, or do you still have to refuel?
Actually, we could get to the northern part of Finland without these, but
okay.
If we want to get back from there, sometimes we need those external fuel and extra fuel. But also, if we want to do some long trips out of Finland, we need that capability. For example, if we have some missions in Europe in the future, that might help us to get closer to the target before making a refuel. And also, those refuels always take some time and may add some other consequences. So it makes the planning and actually conducting missions quite much easier.
In common with every other NH90, the aircraft is a fly-by-wire system, and that effectively means that the flying controls that the pilots use are not physically connected to the actuators on the rotor head. Instead, the position of the controls is fed into it's fed into all four flight control computers, 2 digital and 2 analog. The 2 digital ones are responsible for what's called the upper modes. So this is the more advanced flight modes of the autopilot, and that's capable of flying the aircraft in all 4 axes around profiles like instrument approaches and SAR search patterns and SAR approaches. The fly-by-wire system is also capable of producing some advanced handling modes, and 2 of these that I had the opportunity to experience in the sim were attitude hold mode and also what NH Industries called the TAC mode. The attitude hold mode will be familiar to many helicopter pilots in that the flight control system holds the attitude that is selected, and then the aircraft can effectively be flown using the stick-top trims on the cyclic and the collective, or the pilot can choose to move the controls against the feedback system. The TAC mode effectively removes the force feedback system and damps the controls so that the controls will remain in the position that they're left by the pilot. And the concept here is that if you're operating at low level, you may not want to operate against the trim forces in the aircraft. You may frequently have to move your hands from the controls to operate other systems. And so having a system where the controls remain in the place that you left them gives you the assurance that the aircraft's not going to be out of trim and will always remain in trim wherever those controls are left. Of course, the pilots still have to maintain a very vigilant lookout, particularly at the low levels that the Finnish military operate these aircraft. So I flew the sim a couple of days ago as well. From what the pilots tell me, the controls in the sim very accurately represent the kind of feedback and the feel that you get in the aircraft itself. It was very, very interesting to see the methodology that the pilots use to fly the NH90 here in Finland. It's also very interesting and a first time for me to experience the top-out helmet-mounted sighting display and experience some of the benefits that brings. Finnish military have actually modified their top-out helmet-mounted system with upgraded imaging intensifier tubes to give a slightly better quality image, and it also matches the tubes that they have on their night vision goggles. One of the features that makes the NH90 particularly suited to operations here in Finland is the icing protection system that the aircraft is equipped with. It has an electric anti-icing system on the main rotor blades, on the tail rotor blades, and it also has a pneumatic boot on the horizontal stabilizer. It's controlled by the pilot, although it does have some automatic modes, and so when the pilot selects the anti-icing system on, the system will schedule power into heating mats in the leading edge of all of the main rotor blades and all of the tail rotor blades. It also has a severe mode. If the pilot encounters severe icing, they can select that to change the programming of the system so that it will more effectively shed heavier ice. This is obviously particularly important here in Finland, where temperatures throughout winter are well below zero, down to -40 Celsius in the northern latitudes. And even in the southern part of the country, temperatures are frequently below zero in the range that puts the aircraft at risk of significant icing. So having that anti-icing protection system is critical to enabling the helicopter's all-weather capability. It looks like you get quite a good view out of the side of the helicopter, but then you look at some of the other aircraft here and their doors look a little bit different. Can you explain why the difference?
Yeah, initially we weren't too happy how the pilots could see from the side window. And one of the things we noticed that we actually can remove some of the bars in the window so the pilots can see better. And most of the pilots have been really happy with this modification we've done here in Finland. So, because flying with the hilo, your primary sensor is your own eyes, so you have to see what's happening because you go low level. That is something that actually makes it happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, getting that view out of the window is super important. Like you say, you can only avoid what you can see, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's unique to Finland as well.
Yeah, we've done it by ourselves, and I think it might be added to other countries' gear as well later on.
Brilliant, thanks. Jonas, thanks very much indeed for taking me around the NH90 and showing me some of the features that are unique to the aircraft you have here in Finland. And also thanks very much for hosting us here. It's been a terrific week. Really enjoyed the flying that we've done, and it's been fascinating to see how you guys operate here in Finland. So thank you very much indeed.